Well, there's Steve Arts 89. Well, I just watched the Nightmare on Elm Street series. I did a review of the series as a whole, and I just wanted to do New Nightmare separately because it's its own beast. Now, I saw this film back in the day. I loved it. I really loved it a lot. Didn't see it in the cinema, unfortunately, but got it out on video, took it, watched it, took it to my friend Hannah's place, watched it with her. Um, it was just really good. They did like a meta version. Basically, what happened was Wes Craven, because of all the finance issues in the first film and him being a new director, he basically just took a payment and Bob Shea and New Line basically ended up owning Freddy and everything. So Robert Englund played him. Wes didn't have a lot of choice but to sort of go off and do his own thing. He couldn't really develop Freddy because he didn't sort of control it. He had complained about how that worked out, and Robert Shea had heard about this, and he actually invited him to his office and basically retroactively gave him a cut of the films and a whole bunch of other things, and made him very happy. And then he agreed to work with them again because they wanted another Freddy film, and they weren't sure where they could go with it because they killed him in Freddy's Dead, and he watched all the films and he couldn't really find any consistency through them. And he was just talking to someone else and it just came up with the idea of talking about how it affected their lives. And he thought, well, what if I did a film about Freddy being in the real world? The idea that he was some sort of demon and that we sort of we released him onto the world, but we sort of kept him contained in the films. Once we killed him, then he was free to roam again. And this time he comes back after the people who were in the film. So the actresses and producers and everyone can play themselves, and Freddy would be scarier because he's a different Freddy and he's in the real world. And I just thought that idea worked really well. It was interesting. Now, I haven't really found any of the Friday the 13th films, Nightmare on Elm Street films, really scary. A few moments here and there, some atmosphere, but not really scary. Maybe a startle, like something jumping out. The only scene that really terrifies me in any of the Nightmare films is this film. It has a scene on a highway where Heather Langenkamp's fictional child, who is also the kid who played Gage in Pet Sematary, which I never realised, he has been drugged by nurses in the hospital. And I was really shocked to find out that there's this scene where, okay, I should go into the story a bit, basically, before I get into all that. Nancy basically is getting calls from a stalker. She is experiencing weird Freddy-related experiences. Wes contacts her about doing a final movie, and he's basically writing the movie because Freddy's come back into his life, and he's writing the movie to try and put him back in the film and keep him contained there again like he was before. So she's in her real life trying to work out what's happening. She talks to Robert Englund, she talks to Wes, and eventually she ends up just having to take Freddy on herself. And the doctors, of course, don't believe her that her child is also having bad dreams and seeing Freddy. So there's a point where they're in a hospital and there's a nurse arguing with her, and she elbows her in the stomach behind her, and she like leaves, and then she goes into the room because the babysitter's just been killed and her son's missing. And the nurse she actually elbows, she wasn't supposed to elbow her, and I always thought it looked weird. The nurse just sort of turned and left like in pain. I'm like, why didn't they get security or something? It's because the actress was just trying not to ruin the scene, and she just sort of took the hit and went and left the sort of shot. And I always thought that was weird, and I found out that was the story behind that. But yeah, so the kid is trying to get away from the hospital. He's been drugged, so he's sleepwalking. So he's sleepwalking across a highway, and Freddy is also trying to keep him alive because he wants to use him. So Nancy's following her child, trying to rescue him from like 4 lanes of speeding traffic, and it's just terrifying. The way they staged it and just everything. And there's a giant Freddy in the sky that keeps reaching down and picking the kid up and pulling him out of the road as the cars speed by. And it's just a great sequence and great music. Everything about it works. Eventually, Nancy confronts him with the help of her child. She actually kills him in that realm. And this is all still a story, a screenplay that Wes has been writing. So the film ends with her having a copy of the script appear when she comes back out of the dream realm, and is starting to read it to her son. And now that he's like in a script and they're going to make a movie, they're going to put Freddy back in that little box, in that little cage. So I just thought the film worked really well. Freddy looked kind of scary. It still didn't look realistic. The effects were very disappointing looking back on them. Some of them, especially when he turns into a demon at the end, are just laughable, and I don't know how the hell that happened. It was 1994. There was really no excuse for bad effects back then. But there's a couple of shots. The overall makeup is good and the design is good, but there's a couple of effect shots that really, really do not hold up. But overall, I loved it. And it would have been a good ending for the series. Freddy vs. Jason was a fine sort of off to the side thing, but they tried to reboot it with a remake, which I'm going to deal with now. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the Nightmare on Elm Street series.